This episode today is brought to you by Edge Wallet. Don't want to manage your private keys? You still have to, but Edge will make it easier for you. Welcome to Web3 for Basic Bitches. I'm your host, Vanessa.
And I'm Claudia.
And today our episode is What the fuck is DeFi?
Versus CeFi.
What is the difference? Why does it matter?
Yeah, sprinkle a little tea with FTX in there. So we'll get into it in a bit, but first let's do a little check-in because we've been MIA for a few days.
A few days.
What's the scoop? What's been going on?
Well, we were in San Francisco last week, or I guess like 10 days ago. If you've been following us on social media, we were in the program Nights and Weekends with Build Space. We all got to go out to SF, hang out. Well, not really hang out, like really
yeah,
like
it was
work.
It was work. It was like gamified working.
Mm-hmm.
It got pretty competitive in the best way. There were a lot of really great projects that came out of it.
Getting back into work mode. We're going to ETH Denver. We have a lot of things happening with the podcast. It's a lot. Yeah.
We ended up getting a partnership too.
Yeah,
so that's very
huge.
Exciting.
So stay freaking tuned.
If you're wondering where we are right now, we're in lovely San Diego. All thanks to Edge Wallet. We were here yesterday and fucked up twice. So
what happened last night?
Last night, we were all excited about the setup. We were like, okay, cool. This is going to be the best episode ever. We recorded the episode. So amazing. Started listening back to it and realized we did not check the mics.
Welcome to Web3 for Basic Bitches. No, it took...
We recorded the entire thing
on the microphone from my laptop. And so you had this like intense
echo.
And then we were like, okay, we need to redo that because that sounds terrible. Mm-hmm. We did it again. Our energy level
was plummeted down. Like it was not worth watching at all. Your own bank, you are in charge of your own assets.
I couldn't even edit it.
It broke our hearts. What makes you a basic bitch?
Today?
Yeah.
I'm
hard
kombucha. Hard kombucha. It's also Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Do you have any special plans?
Special plans? Make love.
What makes you a basic bitch today?
Wearing the same outfit as yesterday. And
does that make you a basic bitch though? Or does that just make you
wearing a jean jacket?
Else?
My jean jacket. Always. Let's get into the episode. So just a quick overview. We'll talk about TradFi, CeFi, get into DeFi, talking about FTX a little bit, we'll sprinkle some tea, and then we'll conclude.
We can't talk about CeFi or DeFi until we talk about TradFi. But the episode title would be too long. We also added that in. Claudia, tell me about TradFi. What is it?
TradFi is traditional finance. It's what you think about when you think of the word finance. Large institutions, banks, governments, and corporations that control and manage our money. Give me some examples of some TradFi that you think of.
Vanguard, I think of index funds, Chase Bank.
Controlled by
a small group of people
Yep.
that make these laws and break these laws, but seem to never be accountable for what happens.
They never have to put up with any repercussions on what they do.
What does TradFi give us the ability to do? TradFi gave us the opportunity to earn money on our money. How do you finance? You need TradFi. If you want to buy a house, you're not going to have even $100,000 in cash. You're
how do you make it grow too?
Right, exactly. And so traditional finance really built the system of these different kind of ways that we can
borrow, lend.
We couldn't be a functional society if we didn't have TradFi. CeFi, what is it? Why do we love it? And why do we absolutely hate it?
All right, so CeFi. CeFi does all the things that traditional finance does, as well as introduces cryptocurrency as an investment. In TradFi, there are all things like fractional reserve lending. CeFi also does that, but doesn't actually warn people that that's what's happening.
It's pretty illegal what they're doing. CeFi allows you to do a lot of the cool things that you're able to do in traditional finance, like earn money on your money by lending it out. You're able to take loans out as well. But the huge difference is that in traditional finance, you have this thing called the FDIC. It's insurance for your money that's deposited at a bank. And CeFi institutions don't have this type of insurance on cryptocurrency. They may have this insurance if your funds are in USD, but odds are if you're interacting with an exchange, you're probably holding some sort of cryptocurrency. We want to nail down on today's episode about CeFi is that you need to manage your own private keys. If you...
It's a special 24...
Yeah, it is the number one thing that has really hurt people in the past years, since like the first time they thought they invested their money somewhere that they could trust. And then it turns out the founder, the CEO of the company was like a pretty sketchy person and they took the funds and that
not
was
your
the end
keys,
of it.
Not your crypto.
Thank you. So if you ever watched our pilot
baby episode,
talk about keys and how important they are. When you think about CeFi, what you're essentially doing is you have a bank account somewhere, but the person who has your password to this bank account isn't you.
Your master password.
Yeah, your master password that can be reset, that funds can be moved out of that account without your consent. Now imagine that situation and then think there are no regulations.
People are going to try and take advantage. And it's just, you have to be cautious and careful about where you keep things, who you tell it to. Because you could have a lot of assets in these exchanges, and then in the blink of an eye, they take everything.
Not to get super
Debbie Downer
right now. Yeah, I need to soften my face. I can feel myself.
When you're first starting out with crypto, the first thing you should get and have enough money for is a hardware wallet. So when you start interacting with these exchanges, then you have something where your assets can actually go to that you own, and that people can't take it away unless you somehow lose it. Then don't lose your private keys. Don't do that. But yes.
What is your experience with CeFi? What have you dabbled in CeFi yourself?
Well, fortunately, my experience in CeFi has been good. It's been fine. But there have been a lot of people that I do hear of where they lose their assets, or, just one CeFi institution after the other last year were all coming down, which we can talk about later. But how about you? How do you feel about it?
Do you keep your crypto in an exchange?
Yeah, some of it. I don't keep all of it in exchange. I keep the vast majority of it in a hardware wallet, but yeah, not if it gets over a certain number, then I'm way more inclined to actually transfer it versus keeping it in an exchange.
Yeah, same here. I'm all about dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost averaging means you're investing a fixed amount of funds over a regular time period. No matter what the price is, whether it's really high, whether it's really low, you're still buying. So I do this with my cryptocurrencies. I'm a hodler.
Do you have a certain amount that you pay?
That I invest in every month? Yeah, I do. So every 2 weeks, every time I get paid, I buy some crypto on Coinbase, and then once a month, I then transfer those funds onto my hardware wallet. That's how I use centralized finance. Buy cryptocurrency with fiat, and then put it into a wallet. And that's about it. I'm not a crazy trader. I don't do anything wild.
Yeah, not a day trader. No.
I don't have the heart for that. It's too stressful.
There are people who do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my hands are sweating right now. I can't think about doing that. How did you lose $1,000?
CeFi. There was this credit card called BlockFi, and I was really attracted to the fact that it didn't have an annual fee, that I earned Bitcoin for my purchases, and I felt, okay, cool. I already do this, and I earned free fiat. I'd much rather get Bitcoin because that's way more valuable. I had heard the whole if you don't own your keys, you don't own your crypto.
It's not gonna be me. Stop. Yeah, this credit card looks too professional. It's black, sleek. Oh, that's another thing good with CeFi is the UI. Looks cool.
Yeah, if the UI looks good, you should be a little suspicious. I get this credit card, I'm earning all these points, and then I see this offer that is hey, come put your money in this wallet and you're gonna earn interest on it. And I thought, I don't really know right now, but at the time, all my money was in CeFi. I didn't have a lot in crypto, so it just never felt
necessary.
Okay, like in worst case, I'm one of those people that lose their crypto. It's like not that much. But of course, like over time, like this does continue growing. And so I had some money saved up and I thought, fuck it. Let me go play in DeFi. So I brought over $1,000 and I like staked it, or I thought I was staking it. And I transferred.
On the credit card?
No, not on the credit card. So because I had a BlockFi credit card, I was already now on their platform. And so I could see the other services that they provide.
Okay.
I already have so many accounts. Can I just do it with my credit card account? This seems legit because like literally that's what I told myself.
It and then
yeah, because what? I thought I see Visa. Like there's no fucking way Visa is going to be attached to something sketch.
But what happened?
So I put my money in and I earned interest. Like I was like showing it off. I was telling my friends about it. I was like, yo, like get the BlockFi credit card.
Yeah, anyone who would ask should always be like, yeah, BlockFi.
It's so cool. Like you get free Bitcoin. I would refer people. And then when the FTX thing went down, the contagion that there was in CeFi in mid 2022, when they all just started falling down like a domino effect. And so, so right now I have over like $1,200 locked up in some BlockFi wallet.
Yeah, that you can't use.
So that's CeFi.
Yeah, that's CeFi. So let's get into DeFi.
DeFi.
What is DeFi?
Take a guess. Decentralized finance. Or finance, if you want to say it that way. But don't say it that way. That's how TradFi people say it.
Why are you...
Have you ever watched Bloomberg and they're just like finance?
Is that a movie?
Anyway.
What is DeFi?
DeFi is decentralized finance where you're able to do the same services that TradFi offers you, but now you do them in a permissionless and in a trustless way.
How is it permissionless? How is it trustless? We could start with permissionless first. So how does that happen?
Permissionless. Well, the way this happens is that there's no central authority governing who's able to bring their funds in, who's able to participate in this network. For example, if you and I go to Spain right now, we probably can't open a bank account because we don't have the proper credentials, because we're not Spanish citizens. We don't have an address. It's a very permissioned network
that you have to get first.
Exactly. Whereas in DeFi, anybody can enter. I think another great example is when we think about Russia and Ukraine and what happened last year and what's still happening right now. A lot of Russians were sanctioned by the world, and they overnight they lost access to their funds.
Yeah, couldn't access anything from their accounts. Everything that they had gone, just taken.
Yeah, it's insane over something that your country
you didn't even
decided
decide
to do.
For,
yeah, like you had no say whether you agreed with it or you didn't. You don't have access to it. It's kind of crazy. And so DeFi comes in and it gives us an alternative solution of this big problem. Anybody with an internet connection can open an account, make an account with Uniswap, make an account with Aave, and you are now able to participate in this ecosystem that is very permissionless.
How is it trustless?
It's actually DeFi if the product is based around smart contracts.
What does that mean? Smart contracts?
Smart contracts are instructions on the code, and once a certain amount of conditions are true, then the contract executes accordingly. And an example to think about is a vending machine. You can have a vending machine and you can just interact with it, putting in a dollar bill, you get your soda. If you don't put in a dollar bill, you don't get your soda. If you put in more than a dollar bill, you get your change. And yet you don't.
So there are like very clear guidelines as to this is what happens and this would happen. This is what happens and that will happen. So what prevents people from going in there and trying to change things or like hack the code?
How do you trust it? Well, it's because smart contracts are deployed on a blockchain. Okay. And a blockchain, remember when we talked about your journal entry, your notebook?
Yes.
Once those pages are written on, they can't be changed. Okay, so what we're looking at now is the Aave website. Aave is a liquidity protocol. What is that? Think about anytime you go to a bank, you need to borrow money. You pay the bank interest so that the bank can give you money. What the bank is doing is it's providing you collateral. And for that collateral, you're paying an interest rate. What Aave does is it does the same thing, only without banks. Let's go into the app. We're going to look at this kind of all the Ethereum assets, but You're going to take a look at it now. We're going to block it out to give you some tunnel vision. I have $10,000 and it's sitting in my hardware wallet. And I'm thinking, wow, I wish I could earn interest on this because inflation is so high. I could provide collateral to Aave so that they can then loan that out to other people. And when I mean Aave, I mean the smart contract. How does this work? So you go to a bank and the bank tells you, yo, you want to borrow money? This is what you're going to be paying for interest. And you're like, okay, cool. This is, I guess, what I'll do. But on the other hand, if you have that excess capital and you want to provide it, now you can see what you're able to earn. Now, I know what you might be thinking.
These numbers are really low. Like there's less than 0.01% on some of these.
Yeah, and that does suck. But honestly, it's because that's the way the market is. See, unlike CeFi, where they're going to be promising you outrageous returns, the whole point of DeFi is that it's sustainable. And right now, the market's not great. We're not in a bull market.
No,
and so
we're not. Recap on everything that we've talked about, TradFi, CeFi, and DeFi. So TradFi, BoomerFi, it's what you think of when you think of finance. These large corporations that own and control money, basically. CeFi, what is CeFi?
CeFi is fire, run away. Just kidding. It's centralized finance, and sometimes you need them, especially if you want to enter the crypto market.
We use it.
Yeah, but get your money off the exchanges.
Just
if you don't own your private keys, you don't own your crypto. Therefore, you are on CeFi.
Then let's go into DeFi.
What is DeFi?
DeFi, you are your bank. You are in control of your assets, and it is permissionless and trustless. So now we have FTX. What's the tea with that?
Well, the tea is still unfolding, actually, but we can give you a high level of what the events happened and why everybody lost their money at FTX. Yes. Well, they haven't lost it yet, technically, but they don't have access to it. Sam Bankman-Fried, also known as SBF. You've probably seen him on the side of a train or a bus pass. This dude is the owner of FTX, also the owner of Alameda Funds.
Yes.
Alameda Funds is his hedge fund that made him very rich, made him very successful in crypto. And so after he had Alameda Funds, he then created his cryptocurrency exchange called FTX. When CoinDesk reported the balance sheet at Alameda Funds looked a little sketchy, it was because Alameda Funds had a lot of FTT tokens, the FTX native tokens, which, in other words, it was just a lot of the presumed value of FTX was an investment in his hedge fund. So just not illegal.
So who caught wind of that? Who looked at the report and was like, you know what, let me do my own investigation?
Owner of Binance, another cryptocurrency exchange. This guy is like, yo, this looks really sketch, so we're going to get rid of our remaining coins in FTX.
And we're going to tweet about it.
And make a thread about it.
So everyone ran.
Everybody ran to FTX.
To grab their stuff.
The ones that could. And so as you can imagine, FTX canceled all withdrawals. It was panic, and it was a big problem because FTX was a very known figure.
He was pretty high up there as far as politicians. He was a representative basically for the crypto space and helping out regulations and laws that had to do with crypto. And then for him to just do something so sketchy.
Well, where did all this money go? Because to be honest, we couldn't find an exact number of how much he's involved.
Yeah, I kept seeing
but it's
there
in
was
the billions.
8 billion.
Back in May, we kind of earlier in the episode talked about this contagion with CeFi and how there was a big domino effect. Well, it all kind of started with Terra. Terra was an algorithmic stablecoin, and it was promising outrageous returns. And a
20%.
lot of people, 20% on a stable coin. So imagine bringing your US dollars, a place where Terra Luna explodes, it gets exploited, and all these people that had made really, really big bets on Luna were now forced to pay out, and they weren't able to. So a lot of them got liquidated, like Celsius, Voyager.
A lot
of them. BlockFi got bailed out back then. I'm pretty sure that BlockFi got bailed out back then, and I remember thinking I should probably take my money out, and then I thought, well, if it made it through one time, odds are they're not going to fuck up again. Was I wrong?
Yeah, you don't really think it's going to be you. But
yeah,
then it is.
Yeah, but then it is.
It always
and so
is.
that's what happened with FTX. And right now it's still kind of the news is still evolving.
But so what makes FTX different? Even though this whole thing of like what we've been hearing with FTX and everything that's been going on, what makes people so excited still about DeFi?
I think what it makes people excited about DeFi is that, I think what makes people so excited about DeFi is that knowing that FTX was just CeFi and DeFi is doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not making riches at Aave as you saw by those yields, but you're also not going to be in a position where you're going to be losing your coins. Always remember, do your own research. If you're unsure if it's CeFi, then Google it. And if that still doesn't give you an answer, put it in our comments. So thank you so much for tuning in today.
We are Web3 for Basic Bitches. Watch our things everywhere, and we'll see you next time.